Most history books frame Harriet Tubman as a brave, almost mystical guide. They present her story as a series of quiet escapes through the woods, softening the edges of the woman herself. The Maryland plantation system was an environment of total surveillance. The central control bell and these heavy timber buildings were tools of a regime that used constant violence to maintain order. When she was a teenager, an overseer threw a 2-pound iron weight at another man. It struck Harriet in the skull instead. She received no medical attention and was forced back into the fields while blood still clouded her vision. The injury left her with permanent neurological damage, causing lifelong seizures and sudden deep sleep episodes. During these seizures, she experienced vivid, dreamlike visions. She became convinced these were direct communications from God. This belief in divine protection provided a psychological armor, allowing her to operate in high-stakes environments without the paralysis of fear. This physical trauma didn't just mark her, it gave her a unique perspective on the system's weaknesses. She stopped seeing the plantation owners as all-powerful masters and started seeing them as targets. In 1849, she followed the North Star 90 miles to Philadelphia. She traveled alone, moving through swamps and forests to stay off the main roads. When she crossed the border into Pennsylvania, she reached a place where her life was legally her own. For most people, this was the end of the journey. To stay in the North was to stay safe. But the people she loved remained in Maryland, still subject to the violence she had just escaped. She chose to re-enter the South, crossing back into the territory where she was a wanted woman. She was no longer just a runaway. She was an infiltrator returning to reclaim her family from a system of human trafficking. This map tracks the Underground Railroad, a sophisticated intelligence network. Success depended on safe houses and precise timing. Tubman mastered the logistics, memorizing patrol schedules, navigating by stars, and using coded spirituals. Her success made her a high-value target. Slaveholders increased the bounties for her capture, filling the woods with professional hunters. She carried this pistol on every mission. It wasn't just for the slave catchers. If a frightened passenger panicked and tried to turn back, they became a threat to the entire group. Tubman used the weapon to ensure discipline, knowing that a single defector could lead the hunters back to the safe houses. Her record of never losing a passenger was the result of this uncompromising tactical discipline. She ran her missions with the strictness of a military operation. When the Civil War began, she shifted her focus from the secret network to the formal Union effort. She worked on the front lines as a nurse, treating soldiers and gathering information from the local enslaved population. The Union Army eventually recognized her value as a scout and spy. She moved behind Confederate lines to map out supply routes and identify the locations of hidden mines. This intelligence work made the Combahee Ferry raid possible in 1863. Tubman helped lead 3 gunboats up the Combahee River. They destroyed Confederate stores and liberated over 700 people in a single morning. She had transitioned from orchestrating small midnight escapes to commanding a full-scale military expedition, the first woman in American history to do so. After the war, she lived in near poverty for decades. The government she served as a scout initially refused to pay her the military pension she had earned. She lived with the physical pain of her head injury until the end of her life. Every seizure was a daily reminder of the system she had spent her life fighting. This portrait shows a woman of calculated bravery. She succeeded because she was a superior strategist who understood the terrain and her enemies better than they understood her. Her real legacy is the choice to return. She reached safety, then spent the rest of her life going back into the darkness to make sure others could find their way out.